was found with stab wounds and declared dead on the scene.
Members of SAPS's Serious and Violent Crimes Investigation Unit arrested the victim's husband on Saturday and charged him with murder. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
In Limpopo, police have received praise for their quick response in arresting a suspect on a rape charge. The 30-year-old suspect is due to appear in court today in connection with the alleged rape of a 95-year-old woman on Friday. It's alleged that the woman was preparing food when the armed suspect, who was known to the victim, assaulted and raped her inside her home in the Sekhukhune district. Police spokesperson Hlulani Mashaba.
Through diligent investigative work, the police traced and arrested the suspect on Saturday night, the 10th of January 2026. The suspect is expected to appear before Nebu Magistrate Court on Monday, the 12th of January 2026, facing a charge of rape.
Former Presidents Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma are set to go ahead with their objections on the appointment of retired Justice Sisi Khampepe as the chair of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission Prosecutions Commission. Zuma and Mbeki, along some former cabinet ministers, want Khampepe to recuse herself, citing possible impartiality by the judge. The inquiry was set up last year to investigate allegations of interference and efforts to stop the prosecution of TRC cases. In their separate applications, Mbeki and Zuma previously said the objection against Khampepe is not intended to block accountability, but to ensure a fair and impartial process. Spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation, Mzwanele Manyi, says Mbeki and Zuma have now filed their final replying affidavits.
In their affidavits, both presidents point to serious deficiencies in the Commission's answering papers, which purport to oppose the recusal application. In line with the Commission's own directives, all parties will submit their heads of arguments by Wednesday. The public hearing of the recusal application is scheduled for Friday, the 16th of January 2026 at 10 o'clock.
And President Cyril Ramaphosa is set to meet with titans of industry and business leaders in the United Arab Emirates in another investment drive. Ramaphosa and his delegation will meet with business leaders on the sidelines on an official visit to the UAE, which kicks off today. This is part of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, which brings together the heads of state and government, private sector leaders and civil society to promote collaboration across the board. Nokayam Dambo reports.
The UAE is a major investor in the South African economy across various sectors, including transport, logistics and renewable energy. In 2024, bilateral trade between both countries surpassed the $5 billion mark. South Africa's exports to the UAE increased by 5% compared to 2023, while imports from the UAE dropped 25% over the same period. Spokesperson for the presidency, Vincent Magwenya.
South Africa maintains cordial bilateral relations with the UAE.
President Cyril Ramaphosa will be joined by Minister of International Relations Ronald Lamola, Minister in the Presidency Kumbutso Ntshabeni, Trade and Industry Minister Park Stow, and the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development Mamoloko Kubai. Nokukhanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $4,579.65 an ounce. The rand is at 16.43 to the dollar, 22.09 to the pound, 19.18 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.52 a barrel.
Heading into the Joburg CBD, slow-moving traffic in Boyson's M1 northbound from Boyson's to the Crown Interchange. Traffic lights still not working in Forest Town, that's at Oxford and the M1, as well as in Edenville at Morafontein Road and Van Riebeck.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: a 42-year-old man arrested for allegedly killing his wife and stuffing her body into the boot of a vehicle is set to appear in court this morning on the East Rand.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, happy Monday, happy New Year. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you, as always, for joining us here on 702. I'm so excited to be back with you this morning. I hope you've had an incredible holiday. I hope you are rested. I hope you are ready to do great things this year. Hello to the YouTube. Follow us there because we are live on YouTube. You can just go to the 702 YouTube page if you want to watch and listen to the show for the very first time. And in case you're wondering, but is that really him? Yes, it is me. Because since I walked in today at work, everybody looks at me weirdly because they see what they think is a different man. Because I shaved off my beard in December, believe it or not. So I look slightly different. So if you're watching us on YouTube, this is the man. I just look a little different. I took a decision before I left for my holiday. In fact, on the day that I flew out, I went to the barber shop a few hours before I left, and I decided to just shave off my beard because I wanted to remember what I looked like before the beard. And the beard has been there for many, many years. I honestly had forgotten what I looked like without a beard. So it was a mini personal project, which is done and will never happen again. So yeah, thank you for joining us. If you're on YouTube, if you're listening to us in your office, if you're listening to us from home, I hope in our journey together in 2026, we enlighten each other. I hope we can help each other, hold space for each other. I hope that we can be brave this year, have brave conversations, take risks, hold those in power to account together. I hope we can learn. I hope we can unlearn what needs to be unlearned and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. I hope we can have fun too. And I hope we can continue to heal with each other. Whatever your goals are this year, whatever your targets are, I pray that you achieve them and that you have the capacity and the strength to stay the course should you face challenges along the way. All right, let's kick off the show with the 702 open line. You can call us on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note to that line. Are you back at work? Are you feeling anxious about coming back to work? Did you work throughout December? And how was it for you? Did you go on holiday? And did you go back to the village like some of us? I was home for Christmas. How did it go for you? There's so much to talk about. I don't even know where to begin. Maybe you want to talk about the ANC and its January 8 celebrations. Anything that piqued your interest there, apart from the quote-unquote almost empty stadium? The war in the DA between the leader, John Steenhuisen, and the finance head, Dion George, continues to heat up. George, you'll remember, is a former environment minister. He was fired by Steenhuisen, and the president made changes to his cabinet. John Steenhuisen and Dion George have both made allegations against each other. George was accused of incompetence in his department. There were allegations of sexual harassment as well in the department. And Steenhuisen was accused of misusing the party's credit card. George has now reported Steenhuisen to the public protector. And this is all happening as the DA prepares for a leadership conference in a few months. So you can share your thoughts on that. And congratulations to the class of 2025, the IEB class of 2025, which has achieved a 98.31% pass rate. I mean, if that includes you and your kids, your loved ones, congratulations. How is the mood at home? Please share that excitement with us. That is what we have for now. I saw, in fact, the Minister of Basic Education was speaking earlier, but she's expected to announce the National Senior Certificate results sometime later this year. Here's what we're going to do, though, at 10 o'clock. You may have seen, and as you've heard what I said to Bongani earlier, the U.S. President seems to have declared himself as the acting president of Venezuela. So there's a styled, edited Wikipedia page, an image that is posted by Trump on social media displaying his official portrait and listed his tenure as both the 45th and 47th President of the United States, but also says Acting President of Venezuela. But the actual Wikipedia page, my understanding is that does not list Trump as Venezuela's acting president, nor has any international body recognized the claim. So what's next? He seems to be indicating to us that he is or intends to be the acting president of Venezuela. What's next? We're going to take you there. We're going to speak to Raul Stock, who's the director of Caracas Chronicles. We'll find out what the situation is on the ground in Venezuela. At 10:30, we're going to start a new series focusing on countries that have been invaded by the U.S., and today we're going to start with Iraq. Remember, in March 2003, U.S. forces invaded Iraq, vowing to destroy Iraqi weapons of mass destruction and to also end the dictatorial rule of Saddam Hussein. It was the start of an 8-year conflict that resulted in the deaths of more than 100,000 Iraqi civilians. So to what extent was that invasion driven by strategic interests such as oil, regional influence, or U.S. security dominance in the Middle East? And how did that invasion fit into the broader U.S. strategy of this unipolar power of the time? Did it send a message to other states about U.S. power and intervention? So we'll talk about that because we need to understand what the playbook was by the U.S. because it looks like that playbook is coming back, but in a different form. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Family Matters feature. Today, we're going to be discussing how you can build new habits and positive traditions as a family. And I think that is very important. It doesn't have to be a holiday you go to. It can be dinner on Fridays. It can be on everyone's birthday. We all come together or we do a video call, whatever that is available and you have capacity for. But it's important that families create meaningful traditions and habits that bring families closer together. So on our Family Matters feature today, we're going to be discussing how we can build those new habits. And I want to hear from some of you. If you are within a family that often has traditions, maybe you've got Christmas lunches together, maybe there's a specific thing you do as a family to stick together. I want you to share some of those experiences with us on our Family Matters feature at 11 o'clock. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Let me welcome back you guys. A little bit late of the month. Now is around. But tell me, my brother, what drove you to wanna see how did you look like when you were young? I mean, what drove you to do such? You said a mini what? Jeepers. But yeah, please help us. Maybe some of us. I mean, I've been having beards also on my chin, obviously, for long. But I'm fine like that. So why not? So maybe what drove you to cut off your wealth? Because man, you look rich with that beard, man. You are thick and nice and clean. And yeah, welcome back, Clement Zweli. Sharp.
Thank you, Zweli. Zweli says, I've been having some hairs on my chin. Do we even consider that a beard? I mean, it's funny. I do. Sometimes my brother shows me a little patch on his chin and wants to claim that he's got. I mean, Peter, do you consider yourself a bearded man? I mean, you should see. Peter has like a few beards. I mean, it's not really connecting fully, but he claims he's a bearded man. Yeah, here's the difference. When your face is covered with a beard, like mine has been for so many years, you don't know what you look like without that thing. And I do remember that I once shaved it off many years ago. This is probably like, over 10 years ago. And I remember what I looked like then, maybe even over 13 years ago. But I had forgotten what that looks like. And my beard is not my identity. And I've always been clear about it, That's why I've never even influenced. I've been approached many times by, people who sell these bearded oils, or a barber shop that they want me to do stuff with them. I'm like, that's not really me. And I don't have a beard because I think I want to look. I have a beard because I know I look young without a beard. That's always been the strategic reason, really. So I removed it, Zweli, because I've forgotten what I look like without a beard. And I wanted to see that. And I've seen it. And as you guys can see, if you're on YouTube, it's growing back. In 2 weeks' time, it's going to be back full.
Hey, morning, Clement. Welcome back. Welcome back. And you look different, man. You look very, very young. Very, very young without beards. So, yeah, welcome back. And Happy New Year, bro. It's Ronnie Runback.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year. So here's another issue that I really want us to talk about. And it is what's happening on the international front. The U.S. President, Donald Trump, as I said earlier, has posted on social media that he is the acting president of Venezuela. That's what he's indicating, right? So I do think we have to have a conversation about this, because over the next few months, we're going to be talking about America and Venezuela and that Western Hemisphere, really. The region of the U.S. interest. The U.S. has historically asserted its influence in that region because it views it as crucial for national security and prosperity, as seen in policies like the Monroe Doctrine. But how can you have prosperity when there is instability? Because isn't it that it's instability that produces prosperity? So good things come out of chaos. I mean, no good thing comes out of chaos, is what I mean to say. Look at what happened in Libya. Look at what that country became after America's intervention. Look at the migrant crisis. Look at Iran. Look at Afghanistan, Iraq. I can go on and on. You name it. Where America has intervened militarily, there are those countries that have been left in chaos. And I do wonder, though, if America and the world understand the consequences of this era that we have entered. Because what America has essentially done through its actions in Venezuela is show that it wants to be an empire. Is the world ready for that? Is America itself ready to be an empire state? Because with an empire, we don't have rules. Throw that international rule book out of the window. If you are big enough, you are powerful enough as a country, you can do whatever you want. You can expand territory, you can annex territories, you can do whatever you want. Russia can continue in Ukraine. China can move into Taiwan. America can go after Cuba. They can go after Greenland, which is owned by Denmark. Denmark, which is a member of NATO. The US is also a member of NATO as it stands, even though America may withdraw from that. And remember, Article 5 of NATO, of this North Atlantic Treaty, states that an armed attack against one NATO member will be considered an attack against them all. So if America attacks Greenland, what does NATO do? Because the attack on that NATO state is by a NATO member. The point I'm trying to make is there may be a big war coming, or maybe not. And that already is a problem, that I can even phrase it like that. But I phrase it that way because we don't know. We don't have international rules anymore. We don't have a multilateral organization that can prevent a war, do we? Who? And these international laws are not only being violated now. I mean, Israel has done it, Russia has done it, and so the list goes on. America has done it before, and it's going to do it again. This rules-based order that we have gone accustomed to is now out of the window. So anything is possible. America has increased its budget, its military budget. I think they're now at $1.5 trillion, if I'm not mistaken. They've recently just increased their military budget because they are using military offensively and not only defensively. How do you think we need to position ourselves as South Africa? We had military drills just the other day with Iran, China, and Russia, which really is standard practice. We do this with many other countries. But this specific drill, happening while the focus is on Venezuela, is quite interesting. The timing is quite interesting, and I wonder how it will change the dynamics. So how do you think we should position ourselves as South Africa? Because this is where you think about allies. This is where you think about who's got the resources. And how do you agree, first of all, with my perspective that America wants to be an empire? But how far can they go with that? Do they understand the consequences of that? Does America understand what it's unleashed? Do they understand what happens when you render Congress irrelevant? Too much power in the president's office. What happens when a crazy man takes over this American empire? Well, give me a call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line 072-702-1702.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Good morning, Clement. It's Mpoya at Barra. Donald Trump has never been accountable to anyone for his whole life, and now he's reaching the age where his brain is not functioning, and he's that kind of person as well. So that this personality, he believes he deserves things that he doesn't deserve. You know, I mean, he said he will accept the Nobel Peace trophy. I mean, he says if it's offered to him by the lady who got it, he'll accept it. So how? I mean, it's pity that he's the most powerful person in the world right now, and we have to put up with him. But he's just deranged. He's a deranged person. Thanks.
I don't know. If you want to work on this idea that President Donald Trump is deranged, then what do you say about people that he works with? Because he doesn't take these decisions on his own. Yes, he's the president. He can sign an executive order, but there are people around him too that agree. I mean, have you seen Lindsey Graham? Oh my goodness. Someone who in the past has actually justified America invading other countries. And here he is now. I mean, he travels on Air Force One. He travels with the American president. Now, there was a clip I saw of him on the news where he was talking about how Cuba, your days are numbered. I mean, he says the American president will come and kill you. Have you seen what he says about the Ayahuasca? So what I'm saying is, it's okay for you. I mean, it's easy to suggest that, well, Trump is deranged, but he works with a team of people. He works with a team of people. So what are they? The Monroe Doctrine is coming into shape. I don't think this is just about a deranged president. I think this is about America wanting to assert itself. And it's no longer going to do that through soft power, because as we have experienced it here at home, what they will do, America, to try put pressure on you, if it means that they must even lie about you putting on weapons on a Russian plane to help Russia fight the war in Ukraine. We've experienced that, where an ambassador said that. And when the investigations were done, it was found out that that is not even true. That's not working anymore. America is trying to establish an empire. America has always wanted to be that kind of a country. But when you've got other presidents that have come before, they've always still appreciated the international rules-based order. We are completely coming out of that now, because America thinks because it's got the power, it can do whatever it wants. So the next one maybe will be Cuba. The next one maybe will be Greenland. But I'm asking, have we actually thought about what the consequences of that will be? Not only on the world, but on America itself. And what happens tomorrow when another president takes over, who may have other ideas, maybe wants to expand towards Africa and start on the southern tip. We have entered uncharted territories. There is no going back from here. I don't know how you even stop this, because America feels so emboldened. But I'm more worried about the consequences of the era that we have just entered.
Morning, Clement. Welcome back. I trust your holiday was awesome. But just on that empire conversation, I mean, every there's sort of like a handbook, and every empire, from the British, Spanish when they were taking over the Americas, Rome, all the empires, they all have this implosion that occurs when one of the leaders starts believing that they're bigger than life. And I mean, even Make America Great Again, a lot of the empires that crumbled were striving towards re-achieving a greatness that was sort of starting to dwindle. So I think I'm just going to watch it with bated breath, because look, it's going to be interesting to watch. I don't think there's going to be a war per se, because all the stuff that's being tabled doesn't seem right. But let's see how it goes. Cheers.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. But I'm glad you make that point. All the empires have crumbled, and it would be naive for Trump not to know that. All the empires, number one, corruption becomes much, much more easier if you look at the empires historically. Number two, the masses often turn against them. So there comes a point in time, because when the executive has such unfettered power, if you think, oh, this power is only going to be applicable to people that are rivals of us outside of the America, and you as the citizens are not going to be touched by that, you are naive. At some point, you become the subjects that they overpower, because they don't need to go to Congress anymore. They've already rendered that irrelevant. So you become the target, because they've got to control you too. How can you have an empire that's able to control and take over and invade other parts and expand to other parts of this earth, and yet they're unable to exert power on you as citizens? But as we've seen historically with other empires, the citizens, at some point, the masses, rise up against that empire. But Donald Trump would have still asserted himself in the history books. Maybe he doesn't care about that. Maybe he doesn't care about what America will look like 7 years from now. He cares about the next 3 years that he has. So even if he's going to be frustrated, we've got midterm elections this year. Maybe he's going to be, let's say they lose the, support in the House. He has already started acting outside of the ambit of Congress. So he's going to continue with his plans. And I don't think he's worried about what happens in 7 years' time. He's more focused on, what do I need to do now, and how does it position me in history books? And that, my friends, is a very, very dangerous place to be in, because you've got nothing to lose. You're willing to insert yourself and assert yourself in history books no matter what. What a dangerous place to be in. It's 9:30. More of your calls on 011-883-0702. Send your WhatsApp voice notes as well on 072-702-1702. We'll get back to those after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. A 42-year-old man arrested for allegedly killing his wife and stuffing her body into the boot of her vehicle is set to appear in court this morning. He was arrested on Saturday by police after his wife's remains were found in the car, which was parked at a shopping complex on the East Rand. As schools prepare to reopen this week, the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport has issued a stern warning to scholar transport operators about flouting regulations. The department says it won't tolerate unroadworthy vehicles and on the roads and drivers operating without a valid permit. And the U.S. Homeland Security says it is sending more agents to the city of Minneapolis after a protester was killed by an agent. Renee Good was shot by an officer last week, and her death has sparked renewed protest nationwide against President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. Footage shows the officer opening fire at Good's car after she was accused of attempting to ram officers. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, things looking good on our roads. No accident or major delays have been reported. Even if you are coming from your holiday destinations, the N1 through Polokwane, free-flowing, N3 northbound, that's traveling through Heidelberg. If you're coming from KZN, nothing to worry about, as well as the N1 north, that's traveling through Vereeniging. If you are coming from Bloemfontein, things are free-flowing at this stage. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights in Douglasdale at Leslie and Douglas Drive, in Sunninghill at Rivonia and Witkoppen, as well as in Midrand at Olifantsfontein Road and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
JD in the Val want to respond to the January 8th statement delivered by the ANC on Saturday.
I have a luxury of traveling around most townships in Gauteng. The road is very bad, Africa. I don't even want to talk about potholes, bruh. Listen to what they were asking him the other day. President, look at the potholes in Rustenburg. He said, no, what you are making a mistake of. The issue of potholes is not just a Northwest problem. Every province has a pothole. What kind of a response is that from a president?
When there shouldn't be any potholes anywhere to be reflective on in the first place.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
How's it, Doff? How's it, Savvy? Why are you sitting in your driveway all by your lonesome, Doff? Selling my car, Sav. I don't trust the internet. I like to wheel and deal my own wheels. That's how you make way more, Sav. Okay, so where's your car now, Doff? Potential buyers took it for a test drive. When did they take it for a test drive, Doff? 3 days ago. Should have sold it to We Buy Cars, Doff. Yeah, Savvy.
Don't be Doff, be savvy. We Buy Cars, geared for a fast, safe sale, geared for you.
This festive season, the Department of Transport is appealing to all drivers, passengers and pedestrians. Obey the rules of the road and ensure your vehicle is roadworthy. In the past few days alone, over 2,500 vehicles stopped at roadblocks were found with worn-out tires. Tires in poor condition are extremely dangerous, especially at high speeds, where a blowout can cause fatal crashes. Drivers, please check your vehicles before you travel. Brought to you by the Department of Transport, moving South Africa forward.
Infrastructure, capital, industrial renewal. This Wednesday, Nedbank CIB joins Clement Manyathela for a conversation on unlocking South Africa's economic potential through strategic infrastructure investment. How do we mobilize capital at scale? What role do credible partnerships play in turning infrastructure projects into industrial renewal? From energy and logistics to bankable projects that rebuild confidence. It's a discussion focused on execution, not ambition. Don't miss this crucial discussion on the Clement Manyathela Show, Wednesday, 14 January, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on 702.
702.
WhatsApp Clement
on 072
702
1702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. We're taking your calls on 011-883-0702. WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. An American empire. Are you ready for that? Is the world ready for that? Sol, you're calling us from Highlands North. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Well, good morning. Happy New Year as well.
Happy New Year.
Although it's I don't think the world's ever been ready for any sort of world empire. I mean, we've seen the dastardly events of the Second World War, prior the Soviets, etc., etc. But going back to what Trump's doing, even in America, his own party, as reported in the Business Day this morning, 5 Republicans have broken rank and have advanced to allow the upper house of the U.S. Congress to advance a resolution that he can only use military force if it's being authorized by Congress. So they're trying to push a bill that he can't just arbitrarily go to war with anybody without actual approval by Congress itself. So there are moves afoot, I think.
But there are already rules that exist that Congress must be consulted before. He's already violated that.
Yeah.
Remember when he received the plane from the Qataris? He's always there are a number of things, Saul. I suppose my point is there are a number of things that he was supposed to do in collaboration with Congress or with the approval of Congress. And there are a number of times when he just fundamentally failed to do so, and there's never been consequences. And the argument I'm trying to make is when you take actions so many times, at some point you render Congress irrelevant. So it doesn't matter what bill they're going to pass. The point is the power exists and is within the president and within the executive, and we've seen it being exercised. I don't see what's going to stop him now.
Well, hopefully, rules-based democracy and the law. I mean, at some point, somebody's going to have to stand up to him. Maybe these 5 Republicans are showing the way. I don't know. It's too early to tell. But anybody that has such a view of rules and democracy who just is able to wash it away in the stroke of a pen is frightening. That's all I think.
It's very threatening, Saul. And together with you, my friend, I'm also hoping that there can be some sense. But look at the people that he surrounds himself with. Like, that's why I'm mentioning Lindsey Graham. This is the man who, in fact, some reports suggested last week that it's Lindsey Graham who actually got Trump to ultimately invade Venezuela and kidnap the president. There are some articles that suggest that coming out of the U.S., but I do think that is also simplistic. I think Trump has always had a vision about his second term. In fact, he's always had a vision about when he becomes president. These are his last years. And now it makes sense why the tariffs, everything was happening so fast. The executive orders that he signed coming into office, because he knows that he's going to run out of time. At some point, there may even be an impeachment. I mean, if there are enough Republicans that are going to break rank, he will have to be worried. So these are the actions of a man who knows that he doesn't have all the time. These are actions of a man who knows that he may be impeached at some point. So do as much as you can now. And that is the worry. When he's doing that in a rush, where is the space for rationality? Where is the space for thorough analysis of the actions? Because you want to rush, because you may run out of time, because your own party, some within your party can go against you and you end up losing power. You end up being impeached. Hence, I'm asking, what's next? Is the world ready? And how does America stand there with a straight face and wants to talk to Putin about his invasion of Ukraine when Trump himself and America have just taken actions like they have in Venezuela?
Hi, Clement. Welcome back. Maybe he's not deranged, but he behaves like somebody who is. It's like a bully going to a student who's just received her university degree to say, I will share your university degree with you, I'll take it from you. It's absolutely crazy. But in terms of the people working for him, we had it here in South Africa during the Zuma era especially. We've seen how ANC parliamentarians defended him over and over again against possible notions of no confidence in him when he was handing this country to the Guptas.
Think about everything that was enabled under the Zuma leadership in South Africa. Think of all those people who defended and shielded him. It's not different.
Team on this issue of Donald Trump and the country as America wanting to become an empire, I certainly cannot wait for the day where they no longer have to make excuses for invading or taking, where they just say, because we feel like it and because we don't have to answer to anybody else. We don't have to explain ourselves. And that surely is coming in the future. If all the rest of the countries just sit back and are avoiding to speak up against it. America will soon become a country who invades and does not have to explain themselves to everybody else. And that is extremely scary.
Yeah. So, one thing I think I probably like about Donald Trump is that I don't want to call it honesty because I don't necessarily think he's an honest man. But I think, let me say it this way because maybe you'll help me phrase it. For the longest time, America, I think, has always wanted to behave like, maybe not an empire, but this superpower that is respected, whose authority is asserted, and a superpower that can, through its actions, whether it's military, whether it's soft power, they can move things around. And with Donald Trump, he doesn't, I mean, if this was Joe Biden, they would have come up with an explanation of, oh yeah, this is the reason we're doing it. They would have found a nice international angle to justify the invasion of Venezuela, like in that way, and the kidnapping of its president. Whereas Donald Trump is very clear. He's like, I want the oil. Yeah, sure. We're worried about, drugs. We're worried about, migration. Yeah. We worried about how this man is a dictator, but we want the oil. And we're going to get in there, we're going to run this country, and we're going to sell their oil, and the proceeds of those sales will benefit America and the Venezuelan people. I don't think Joe Biden would have had the spine to say it like that. And I'm saying, as we move on, as Trump even considers Greenland, and they talk about Cuba, and the more they do that, the more he's going to be more and more clearer and blunt about what his mission is in the presidency. And I think his mission, because he's always felt America is not respected anymore, his mission is to, whatever needs to happen, to assert America as an authority. But America then, when it becomes an empire like that, loses the moral authority. He must not even bother to go sit with Putin to try and get on a deal that's going to get Putin to get the soldiers out of Ukraine. I mean, they must forget it. On what basis? How dare they? Mark, you're calling us from Randburg. What are your thoughts?
Hi, Clement. Yes. So what is the difference when America invades countries and whether America takes over the economy of the world? They're still manipulating. They're still pulling the strings as and when they want to do these things. Explain to me the difference. That's first point. Second point is that if you look at the fall of the Roman Empire, it started internally. It started with people revolting internally against the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And so what's happening in America at the moment is the fight against ICE, the manipulation of the currency and the economy. The economy is in decay. And so you start looking at all of those factors and you're saying that America is going through what most empires have gone through. It's all there already. Classic example is how many trillions are leaving the country. I think it's BlackRock recently took out $1.7 trillion out of the economy, and they're putting it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the perception that Trump is going to invade Greenland and look at Cuba and all of those kind of things. It's both on the economic front, it's a political fight, as well as a civil unrest that's taking place in America. So from that point of view, I think it's inevitable, to your point, that the American world empire, as we know it or understand it to be, is all crumbling. And how does that affect us is the major question.
Yeah, and you're right about the internal revolt. At some point, historically, all the empires, there is revolt. You go down, and it's the masses that take you down. But does Trump even care about that? He's probably thinking, that's going to happen when I'm out of office. But for now, I want to be the president that actually establishes this. But back to your point, I mean, hard power uses military force. In fact, I would argue that economic coercion, right, to compel other people, that also forms part of hard power. And then, of course, soft power, you are using, your attractions, whether it's through culture, your political values. But I do things that even with lies, like I keep on giving this example of the U.S. ambassador, Bridgetti, the former U.S. ambassador, Bridgetti. If you remember what he did, he went on television and he said, South Africa has supplied arms to Russia to fight in Ukraine. And when we asked, but where's the evidence for that? They are unable to share that with us. I mean, it got to a point where they had to settle things out and they agreed. There's nothing like that. The South African government did an investigation and said nothing like that even happened. And the ambassador seemed to walk back on his words, but he didn't apologize. He only apologized for the way it was communicated. That's not only that. Do you remember the time when the U.S. Embassy issued out a notice to say there may be a terrorist attack, something along those lines at Sandton City? Do you remember then? It was ahead of a very hectic, busy weekend for Sandton City. They issue out an alert like that. They have not consulted the South African government. What do you think that is? And I'm not suggesting here that is also using soft power to put pressure. I'm just saying that any country that is powerful enough will do whatever it can to try push their agenda. And if it means they must issue an alert to mess up with your economy, I mean, that was going to be a busy weekend at Sandton City. In fact, around Sandton, it was quiet that weekend because nobody knew whether there will be an attack or not. Was that one of the ways that the U.S. was using its soft power to push for something else? Because our government, I mean, I remember Zizi Kota was the state security minister at the time, if I'm not mistaken. He was busy walking around Sandton on that weekend to try and show people that it's not true. They have not even shared with us the evidence that may have led them to believe that there may be a terrorist attack. So there are a number of ways through which you can exert your power as a superpower, especially when there are no international rules. And I see some of you are mentioning the United Nations. Really? The United Nations? You still have hope that the United Nations has the capacity, as it currently stands, to stop any war? If so, what have they been doing all along when Israel has been bombarding Gaza? If so, what have they been doing about Russia, which has invaded Ukraine? I mean, what year are we on now? That's not a multilateral institution that has power. It's not. So without rules, I mean, there are rules of war. Throw that out of the window. Because we've already thrown other aspects of international law out of the window. The U.S. has even threatened that it's going to pull out of these multilateral organizations. Think the World Health Organization. Think the United Nations. Think NATO. My goodness. They're threatening to pull out of these organizations. What does that leave us with? Sillo, you're in Woodmead. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead.
You've hit the nail on the hammer, and mine is very simple. I think we are seeing this craziness, all of this unusual acts purely because of the fact that Trump is hiding something, doesn't want the Epstein files released. Clement. The Venezuela thing. The director of the intelligence of America was not even present when they invaded Venezuela. In fact, not so long ago, she was attending some conference specifying that this President Trump, is not about regime change, is not about to attack any foreign country, blah blah blah, only for this thing to happen as a law enforcement, and I'm putting it in inverted commas, law enforcement. But you've got and the army, the U.S. Army, involved, and all of a sudden we are hearing Trump saying he will act as president. You've got the oil company CEO saying that Venezuela is uninvestable. I don't know how he's going to manage it in the next 3 years to provide them with security. He attacked Venezuela now with the guise of taking oil for the benefit of Venezuelans, blah, 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 without even having spoken to the CEOs. Only now is he scrambling to speak to the CEOs, and now he's threatening NATO. Now and that international law doesn't really subscribe to it. We must go with what his morality tells us.
Yeah.
This is not somebody who's thinking strategically. Initially, I actually thought Venezuela oil blue. It's a big strategic move. It will help the American economy in as far as reducing the inflation towards the end of this 2026. Maybe then the American economy will be doing well. And maybe he may just win the midterm. But you then see as this thing unravels, or Norman, there's no plan here. This is just haphazard. Every day it's haphazard. It makes one even wonder: will we be safe as foreigners to even attend this World Cup in the U.S.? You know how fans behave. I mean, but in America now, with just being shot and killed by this ISIS, well, there's justification. Apparently, they've got this immunity in doing whatever they want. But all of this is the 2 million documents that have not been released, despite him, making it law that when was it? December 17th. All of them were supposed to have been released, and we know that 2 million is still outstanding. I think it's the hiding of the Epstein file. I think there's plenty things happening there that implicates.
So you think they're trying to divert attention? I mean, also, if there was something incriminating in the Epstein files, don't you think that the Democrats, would have at least leaked some of that already? Because I wonder if there's anything that really implicates Trump directly. Because trust me, if it was there, Silo, that would have been leaked a long time ago. That would have been used to prevent him even from running for office. And yes, maybe there is like stuff that is sort of, that will embarrass him a bit, or, make us question his, his morals. But I don't know if whatever it is out there is strong enough.
Remember, two very strong MAGA in Marjorie Taylor Greene and that Lauren Boebert were called, and with Marjorie Taylor Greene specifically, Trump apparently said to her that a lot of people will get hurt, are going to get hurt if they push for this thing. And so we don't know who those people are.
But it's still the he said, she said. I worry, though, that everybody works on an assumption that, we think. But American politics works on discrediting. So the minute you announce that you're running, in fact, your chief of staff needs to sit down with you, your campaign manager, and say, whatever secret you have, put it out on the table. Because in the American system, that's going to come out. That's how they do their politics. And I do think that if really there was something in those files, because there are a number of eyes that have gone through them, we would know by now that incriminates Trump. And I don't think there's anything strong.
I mark my words. Epstein implicated everybody. Epstein made it his mission to know everybody and have dealings with everybody.
Yeah.
We still don't know the extent of his wealth, how he made his money, what he was doing in terms of making his money. And we know Trump was a beauty pageant person. We know that Trump himself was a Democrat before. And we've seen there's a lot of senior Democrat contributors, you know, why are they not releasing if there's nothing? Clement, that's the other question to what you are putting. Why are they not releasing?
And I think that's a fair question, Silo. If really there's nothing, then put everything out and not just the extracts that have already been put out. Yeah, Silo in Woodmead, thank you so much for your thoughts, my brother. Robert, you are in 4 ways. Hi.
Hi, Clement.
Sure.
Good morning. Compliments of the season.
Compliments.
Look, I have a thought. Maybe this is just only my dreams, but almost 100 years ago, to the few years, the one person comes to the power, which was the Adolf Hitler. He was doing the same tactics. He find a group of the people who can blame to make a Germany great again. So he find the Jewish people. We have a very coincident. Donald Trump comes to the power. He blame immigrants for the all failure of the America. Now, the annexion of the Austria and invasion of the Venezuela, very coincident things. And I can tell you something, this is a very, very dangerous person for the whole stability of the world. In my opinion, he has an enormous power, enormous power. He has an enormous arsenal when he will not hesitate to use. I listen to him, he say the international laws, he doesn't care about them. It is the level of his discretion of his morality only what is actually gonna decide if you're gonna leave or not.
Yeah. Robert, in 4 ways. Yeah, thank you for your contribution. Quite scary, actually, listening to how you're putting it. Zamani, you're in Davidton. What are your thoughts? Hi.
Yes, how are you? I'm just going to be straightforward. As South Africa, I think we are misrepresenting ourselves because since the world existed, things like this happens. Is either you take it and make an opportunity about it, like the apartheid government did with the World War I, where we've got your company like Amco, Denel, that were established to supply arms and all those, and then we became the third largest army in the world. But now, because we don't have presidents or leaders with backbones that can stand their ground, there's nothing wrong about what America is doing. It's only wrong because in the eyes of those who don't know what they want, where are they going? It's either America can be great again, the way Donald Trump is saying, is either America can fall. That is up to the tactics of America. It's not up to South Africa to play a peace negotiator. What that will not bring food in our tables. That will not bring employment. That will not bring business. Nothing. It will only empower those who are in power. But if we can take a stand like apartheid did, to empower ourselves with the situation of the world, read the geopolitics, read the room, and be a nationalist. Donald Trump has changed from being a Democrat to be a nationalist to protect his country first. China has done that. Russia is doing that. China is in Taiwan. Russia is busy with Ukraine. Why don't they reprimand America? Only our useless leader without backbone who doesn't know how to become a superpower.
Okay, Zamani and Davidson, thank you so much for your thoughts. We'll pick that up after the news. Maybe I'll play some of your WhatsApp voice notes as well before we get to our next conversation.
Okay, truck 7, that has 0 warning lights. Truck 8, it's just been serviced. I guess we're running like a well-oiled machine. Where would I be without My Way's comprehensive cover for my vans and trucks? Plus, cover for my customers' orders with goods and transit insurance. I guess we'll never know.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
In Africa, we say the chameleon looks in all directions before moving. At Plus 94 Research, we understand the importance of careful consideration. By analyzing comprehensive data and diverse perspectives, we help you make informed decisions that stand the test of time. Don't leap without looking. Move forward with insight and precision. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision making.
At Richfield, we don't just offer degrees, we open doors to a learning experience of a lifetime. Your education should be about growth you can feel, skills you can use, and support from your first class to your final graduation. Study online or at one of our 8 premium campuses. We support you with job-ready skills and a world-class curriculum. Apply at richfield.ac.za. Richfield, your future enriched.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. A 42-year-old man arrested for allegedly killing his wife and stuffing her body into the boot of her vehicle is said to appear in court this morning. He was arrested on Saturday by police after his wife's remains were found in the car, which was parked at a shopping complex on the East Rand. She was found with multiple stab wounds to her body. Oren Singh reports.
In what police have described as a heinous act of gender-based violence, a husband will appear in the Alberton Magistrates Court this morning for the murder of his wife. The 42-year-old is accused of stabbing his wife numerous times and then stuffing her body into the boot of her white BMW. Gauteng Police Spokesperson Mavela Masondo.
The deceased was reported missing by her friend on Friday, the 9th of January at Alberton Police Station. The search was conducted on the same day and the victim was found inside the boot of her white BMW at Brackenhurst. She was found with stab wounds and declared dead on the scene.
Members of SAPS's Serious and Violent Crimes Investigation Unit arrested the victim's husband on Saturday and charged him with murder. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
As schools prepare to reopen this week, the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport has issued a stern warning to scholar transport operators about flouting regulations. The department says it won't tolerate unroadworthy vehicles on the roads and drivers operating without a valid permit. Spokesperson Liseba Mpia says safety remains a key priority.
MEC Kribonedi Aletlabela does also insist that there should be a pattern of acceptable driver behavior on our roads over and above the fact that their vehicles have got to be compliant.
After more than a week of firefighting in the Overstrand municipality, the Pearly Beach blaze has been contained while crews in Stanford continue with control backburns to prevent further spread. Emergency services warn that the fire danger still remains high across the area despite cooler temperatures. Kayleen Morgan reports.
Light drizzle overnight has helped firefighting efforts in Pearly Beach, where officials say the fire has now been contained. Crews are moving through burned areas, conducting mop-up operations, patrols and monitoring for flare-ups. In Stanford, firefighters remain actively engaged, carrying out controlled backburns at the Odeflakte, where the perimeter remains extremely hot. Flare-ups remain a concern here due to dense alien vegetation. Authorities have confirmed that some structures have been lost, but say the full extent of the damage is still unknown, as detailed assessments and investigations will only begin once all fire lines are fully secured. Kayleen Morgan, Eyewitness News, Stanford.
And the U.S. Homeland Security says it is sending more agents to the city of Minneapolis after a protester was killed by an agent. Renee Good was shot by an officer last week, and her death has sparked renewed protests nationwide against President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. Footage shows the officer opening fire at Good's car after she was accused of attempting to ram into officers. U.S. Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem has defended the actions of the officer during an interview on CNN.
How can you assert with certainty that she was trying to hurt the officer as opposed to she was trying to flee the scene?
If you look at what the definition of domestic terrorism is, it completely fits the situation on the ground. This individual, as you saw in the video that we released just 48 hours after this incident, showed that this officer was hit by her vehicle, she weaponized it, and he defended his life and those colleagues around him and the public.
Gold is trading at $4,579.65 an ounce. The rand is at 16.43 to the dollar, 22.09 to the pound, 19.18 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.52 a barrel.
Traffic lights out of order in Douglasdale at Leslie and Douglas Drive. There's also traffic lights not working in Polshof at Witkoppen and Main, as well as in Forest Town at Oxford and the M1.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: a 42-year-old man arrested for allegedly killing his wife on the East Rand and stuffing her body into the boot of her vehicle is set to appear in court this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumela, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. We're going to speak in a moment to Raul Stolk. He is the director of Caracas Chronicles. Caracas is, of course, the capital city of Venezuela. And I want us to just find out what the situation is on the ground and what the people in Venezuela think the next steps are, and how is the government in Venezuela and even the opposition leaders responding to what Donald Trump has announced. I mean, he seemingly says he's the acting president of Venezuela. He indicated last week that he'll be sending a team over to Venezuela that's going to run that country, sell the oil, until there's going to be a leader of Venezuela, which of course needs to have the green light of the United States. There's a WhatsApp voice note, in fact, not a voice note, a text that's come through, which I think is asking a very important question. And this is from Daddy, who says, "Good day, Clement. My main question on America invasions and land grabbing is, where is Europe in all of this? And what is stopping Europe to speak directly to their strategic partner? Europe is blaming Russia for the same crime that America is committing in front of their eyes. What is the purpose of NATO anyway?" Precisely the point. And you should have seen the European Union and other European countries. I mean, there's only is there even one that has been very firm in condemning the United States? I have not seen a statement like that yet. I mean, a lot of them are calling for restraint. They are calling for the respect of international law. But there's no condemnation. And this actually reminds me of our own government in the beginning. When Russia invaded Ukraine, it was so difficult to get them to condemn Russia. I interviewed, the international relations minister at the time, or even Lindiwe Zulu at the time in the ANC, was the head of the international relations subcommittee in the ANC. I spoke to all of them, and they did not want to condemn Russia, but they called for, let's respect international law. That's exactly what Europe is doing now towards America. And that's when you realize that politics, and especially global politics, are quite selfish. They're about the interests of each individual country. Europe doesn't want to piss off Donald Trump. They want to tread carefully. Right? They have to tread carefully. So it's very tricky. Now, how do they go after Russia, but they can go after the U.S.? How does the U.S. even begin to enter a conversation about what Russia is doing in Ukraine when it's doing what it's doing in Venezuela and potentially in other countries in the Western Hemisphere? It's 10 minutes after 10 o'clock.
Your voice.
Your questions.
Your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 702.
All right, so because of the time zone in the Americas and where we are now, I recorded a conversation with Raul Stock. He's the director of Caracas Chronicles. I recorded this conversation early this morning because it was going up to midnight in America. So I recorded it via Zoom so that I can play it for you and we can get a sense of what's happening on the ground and what we can expect next. So here's a chat with Raul Stock, who's the director of Caracas Chronicles. Okay, Raul, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Let's just start with what the situation is like on the ground in Venezuela right now. What have you been reporting? What are people saying?
Okay, first, the situation is very fluid. We have gone through different stages during the whole week. In the beginning, it was more focused on security on the ground. We had some journalists, Venezuelan journalists that were arrested during the week and then released. Then everything was focused on what was going on with the oil industry and Trump sort of like taking over the Venezuelan oil industry. But the last couple of days have been more focused on the release of political prisoners. A couple of days ago, the president of the legislature, who is the brother of the leader in charge right now in Venezuela, it's called Jorge Rodriguez, said that they were working on a large-scale prisoner release. They said it was like a unilateral gesture for the peace of the country or something like that. But we know that it's something that that the Trump administration required, and that was a very interesting day. Obviously, a lot of people very happy because in Venezuela there is close to 1,000 political prisoners.
Yeah.
We were expecting during the first days to see at least 400 released, but up to this day, and this started on Friday, and we're on Sunday right now, and only around 18 have been released.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk on what could be going on. On one side, some people think that it has to be with delays on the process, that some judges have to be reached and papers have to be signed and stuff like that. Others believe that it's a delay caused by an individual called Diosdado Cabello, who is the interior minister, who's kind of in charge of the police in Venezuela, and he's believed to be kind of sabotaging Delcy Rodriguez's rule and relationship with the United States by delaying these release.
So as things stand now, is the Venezuelan government taking instructions from the U.S.? I mean, I know the U.S. still wants to send an executive of sorts that's going to help run Venezuela. But in the meantime, is it more instructions coming from the U.S. on what the Venezuelan executive needs to do?
It's very clear that at least on what pertains to oil, they have been complying with everything that the U.S. has been requesting. The first thing that Trump said on a social media post was that Venezuela was going to sell, that they were going to sell between 30 million and 50 million Venezuelan oil barrels And that process started already. Those millions of barrels, there's a lot. That's actually something that works both ways, because right now, because of the blockade or the quarantine that the United States Armada has Venezuelan sanctioned oil tankers. Right now, there is a problem with the storage of the oil because there's too much inventory, and Venezuelan production was about to be cut. So in a way, getting rid of these oil barrels helps Venezuela not cut production. But the United States has said that they will sell the oil in the international market and that they're going to manage the funds for the benefit of Venezuela.
But, the U.S. President said that's going to be for the benefit of the Venezuelans and Americans.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry?
How do Venezuelans feel about that? Because, a classic example, if I were to make it practical here at home, that's like the U.S. government coming and basically taking control of our raw minerals here and then sell them at an international platform, well, of course, but according to the market price. And then they do that for the benefit of America and South Africa, even though those are our raw materials. And I wonder if Venezuelans understand it the same and if they are okay with that, for as long as, of course, America has taken out, as some describe him, a dictator.
There's a lot to unpack there, and it makes absolute sense. I think that there is beyond the oil issue, because one thing is, as you said, they took out Maduro, who was incredibly unpopular, and he stole an election in 2024. And on the other hand, the Chavista state has been incredibly corrupt. And Venezuelan oil was distributed by Maduro allies and at discounted prices and through shadow fleets, and none of those funds would go back to the country. So now you have the only client that actually pays, saying that they're going to manage the finances. So I don't think most Venezuelans are not really concerned about that, but they're more concerned about the issue of democracy, obviously. They're more concerned about the election that was stolen in 2024, and because many people expected that if the U.S. was going to intervene, they were going to help get the president-elect sworn in, but that wasn't the Trump strategy. And
by president-elect flown in, what do you mean? Like someone that the U.S. just picks in America to say, go run Venezuela?
No. In 2024, there was an election in Venezuela.
Yes.
And a presidential election that the Maduro lost, and the people who won by almost 70% of the vote. Maduro stole that election, and that elected president, which president-elect, because he's not the president because he hasn't taken the oath, had to flee and be exiled in Spain. At the same time, the leader of the opposition, Maria Corina Machado, had to hide for over a year, and she's now abroad. She's supposed to be traveling to the U.S. Next week. But most people in Venezuela were expecting that if the U.S. intervened in the way that they did, that they would help the president-elect get sworn in the country.
Where is the president-elect now? And do you think that Trump trusts...
That didn't happen.
Yeah. Do you think Trump trusts that president-elect that most Venezuelans, as you say, had hoped that this intervention by America would help at least see him in office?
Well, that's an interesting question, because what ended up happening instead of Trump supporting the opposition and the rightful president, what he did was that he decided to work with the remains of the regime. And I don't think that it's not that he doesn't trust the president-elect, but what he has said, and I think that there's something to it, is that he didn't see in the opposition, in the president-elect, and particularly the leader of the opposition, Maria Corina Machado, he didn't see that they would have the capability to keep the country, like for instance, the military at bay, or to like institutionally Venezuela is broken, so he didn't see that they had the capacity to sort of like in a way keep the country running, and he saw that in the regime. So what he did was remove Maduro and sort of in a way kind of empower his vice president. But it's not that that vice president is empowered, but more like controlled by the Trump administration. But that woman now, Delcy Rodriguez, has to deal with pressure from the United States and pressure from the the other factions of the regime, the military, and this guy who's the head of the police, who's very powerful, who are pressuring her to kind of resist the control of the Trump administration. But the truth is that the Trump administration said that either the regime plays ball or they're going to go in again.
But what is the likelihood of the U.S. government allowing whoever is going to be leader of Venezuela ultimately to be a leader that works in the interest of Venezuela and to be a leader that responds to the needs and expectations from the people of Venezuela who, let's say, would have voted him in? So even if there are fresh elections tomorrow or soon, because at the end of the day, a precedent has been set here. Whoever becomes leader, whether or not chosen by the Venezuelan people, would still have to work in the interest of not only Venezuelans, but the interest of America as well. So you'll still need to respond, to respond to the Trump administration and do as they want in some way.
Yes, that is probably why Trump didn't go with the opposition people, who are incredibly popular, who have a political capital that Chavismo doesn't have, and who probably would have pushed back on the way he's handling things. And that is the biggest worry of people in Venezuela right now. It has to do with democracy and self-determination, obviously.
Yeah, and of course, and that's completely out of the window now because of what has just happened. Yeah,
yes.
So
absolutely out of the window.
It's completely out of the window.
But the feelings in Venezuela, you have to understand that it's people are worried about this, but it's a mixture of feelings. Because on the other hand, if the release of political prisoners moves forward and the kind of like the oil business gets in line and Maduro doesn't return and the Maduro regime is weakened, because one of the biggest fear of the people is in Venezuela is repression. If all that is controlled, and it's what people are hoping that will happen, then it's not like they're going to accept it. But right now there's a little bit of hope that will be controlled. So again, it's a very complicated feeling when you have discussions with Venezuelans right now on the ground. What you will find is a mixture. It's a mixture between celebration and uncertainty. But one thing that you could control is if is if like the rightful opposition were on the ground and probably working along with the Trump administration, but that's not happening. They just decided to throw them, under the bus in a way, and to work with the regime, but mostly focused on business.
Mm-hmm. What's next then, Rel? What's the next thing? The last update I saw, Trump said he was going to send some kind of an executive, someone who would represent America's, oil industry, but also someone from who's higher up in the Trump administration who can help maybe run Venezuela. But I wonder how safe they're going to be. And I know Trump has said they don't want soldiers on the ground, boots on the ground, but there's no way you're going to send like senior executives or senior, officials from the U.S. to a country that you're taking over, and you don't send them with the army for protection. So at some level, even when that team comes, there's going to be a very, 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 very high contingent at the very least of American soldiers to protect that team.
Well, when Trump was asked about boots on the ground last week, he said, because he's always said that he didn't want to put boots on the ground, but he was asked, and he said, "Well, we put boots on the ground already, so yeah, we're not afraid of it." There was a group of diplomatic personnel who went, and the embassy is not open, but they went to kind of make an inspection of the premises, and they arrived like just this week. So there's and both countries said that they would reestablish diplomatic relations, and I think that we can expect to see like presence of American soldiers. I think that the situation on the ground is partially controlled in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Marco Rubio is supposed to be leading kind of that strategy from the U.S. side. Again, I think that the embassy will be up and running in a week. It's very likely. And I know what you're saying about security, but it's not like the Venezuelan military are gonna try to do something, because they are, as it was proven during the Maduro extraction, they are completely unprepared and unequipped to deal with the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's a situation of submission, basically.
Yeah. How many people have been killed? Because the first time when Trump announced, this capture of Maduro, he indicated that nobody had been killed. And then later on, when we hear the updates, I think from the Venezuelan side, there was a mention of about 100 or so, soldiers and other security personnel and other people that had been killed during that capture. What do we understand from the authorities on the ground about who's been killed?
Well, the authorities on the ground never give numbers of anything, and their numbers are very unreliable. As a matter of fact, there was no mention from the authorities about people killed until the Cuban government issued the names of 32 Cuban officers that were killed in the operation. And on the other hand, independent journalists have been working hard to get to put together the list of the deceased. Up to now, the count goes up to 78, I believe. Mostly military personnel from Venezuela and Cuba. And I think that up to this moment, there's 4 civilians that were killed in the attack.
Okay.
But the confirmed number with names is 78.
Okay, 78 confirmed number with names. Okay.
There could be more, of course, but yeah, that's where it is right now.
What is China and Russia saying in all of this? Do you think that the Venezuelan government, the executive, are reconsidering the country's alliance with countries like China and Russia? Because again, that seems to be the reason that the U.S. administration advances, as one of the reasons why they have to protect themselves, and Venezuela then becomes a strategic country in that regard.
Well, yeah, that's what they say. I don't think that's the main reason, but Russia and China are not doing a lot to help Chavismo right now. I think that China right now is more concerned about the oil business, but I don't think that from what the energy secretary in the U.S. has been saying. And for many other reasons, I don't think that the United States is going to bump China out of the Venezuelan oil business. The main reason being that one big part of the exports that go to China are a debt payment that is being paid in oil barrels. Mm-hmm. And if the U.S., in a sense, is going to help, if you want to say help, or manage finances for Venezuela, they are not going to want for Venezuela to default on that debt. And the Secretary of Energy in the U.S. said that they didn't want China out, that they hoped that China was going to be in Venezuela for a long while, but that they didn't want them to be the main force in Venezuelan oil. China has been a key ally to the regime for the quantity of oil that they have been taking. On the ground, they have important projects, but in reality, they are not as important as the projects that the United States has.
Okay.
But I think that's kind of like a problem that China and the U.S. are likely to find a way to solve together.
Yeah.
On Russia, Russia's alliance with Venezuela is very much performative, even in defense. Mm-hmm. It's mostly when Venezuela needs a communique from a foreign power to support them, Russia does that. But even in the oil industry right now, they are not very relevant in Venezuela. This is not like a big problem, and you can see from the support that they have been giving Venezuela, which is non-existent on the conflict.
Yeah. Raul Stock, thank you so much. This has been so insightful. Thank you for helping us get a sense of what the people on the ground are thinking and are talking about. Raul is the director of the Caracas Chronicles. Thanks for making time for us.
Thank you, Ben.
Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Apologies there. Being late for the news. We recorded that conversation very early this morning because of course, the hectic time zones between South Africa and that part of the world. Sfiso, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Private investigator Paul O'Sullivan is adamant that he will not appear in person before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing police corruption. Speaking to EWN, O'Sullivan raised concerns about his personal safety. He believes appearing before Parliament in Cape Town will make him a target and expose him to the possibility of being killed. The Rustenburg local municipality has blamed its service delivery challenges due to a lack of resources. This follows repeated concerns by residents about poor roads, persistent water and electricity outages, and bad maintenance of public spaces. Some residents have taken matters into their own hands in an attempt to fix their communities. And British police have revealed that London has recorded the lowest number of homicides in more than a decade. The Metro says there were 97 killings in the capital last year, a decrease compared to 2024's figure of 109. This comes weeks after U.S. President Donald Trump claimed crime levels were crazy and that police did not want to patrol some parts of London. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, things looking really good throughout 702 land. No accidents or major delays have been reported on our highways. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights in four-ways, Witkoppen and Leslie. Traffic lights out of order in Polshof at Witkoppen and Main Road, as well as in Marlborough at Marlborough Drive and the M1 South. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Wondering why 45-year-old Nivan has such a big smile lately?
Outsurance. Saved me so much money. 461 rand.
That's right. With Outsurance, Nivan saves an amazing 461 rand a month on his 2025 VWT Cross. And after 3 claim-free years, he gets an out bonus.
So much money.
How much money could Outsurance save you? Get a quote now. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints. Affordable, lasting luxury.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Both parties aren't speaking. It was a simple statement. From what we know, from what we understand of the industry, does this merger make sense?
I mean, the market has sort of rewarded the prospects to Glencore, so 7% up, whereas Rio Tinto is 6% down. This is a bit complicated, and there are a lot of complications in combining these two companies.
David Mackay, the editor at Mining MX.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
Health and Wellness.
It's 10:38. Not time for health and wellness yet. We will do that tomorrow. But we are starting a new series today. And it's a series that is going to sort of help us understand what may or may not unfold over the next couple of months, maybe over the next 2 years as well. We're going to do a series over the next couple of weeks looking at the countries that have been invaded by the U.S. And today we're going to start with Iraq, because there's several of these countries. I want us to do this because it's going to position us well for understanding, but also reading between the lines, because there's a lot that will be communicated depending on what happens with America's. I mean, you must go read this, which is I really think is the reason why we're going this way. But go read the Monroe Doctrine, because that's a policy that really you can see MAGA is pushing for. If they continue with that policy because they want America to be this powerful force in the Western Hemisphere, reclaim its power, and doing that may involve not only going after countries like Venezuela, as you have seen, but going after other countries like not Denmark, but Greenland, which is owned by Denmark, going over countries like Cuba, and I can go on, and countries in the Western Hemisphere that are strategically important for the American influence. Someone indicated earlier that Clement, if Donald Trump decides to invade Greenland, he'll have no leg to stand on when it comes to our expropriation bill. He will have thrown that argument out of the water. Well, Mpemba, Trump doesn't even care about that. He could tell you one thing today and tomorrow turn around and say something different. That's it for him. Like, you can point out to the contradictions all you want. The point is, this is his decision right now. And that's what's even more scarier about where we find ourselves. So this series is going to be looking at countries that have been invaded by the U.S., and we're going to start with what happened back in March 2003 when the U.S. forces invaded Iraq, vowing to destroy the weapons of mass destruction. Remember that? They said they wanted to also end the dictatorial rule of Saddam Hussein. It was the start of an 8-year conflict that resulted in the deaths of over 4,700 U.S. and allied troops and more than 100,000 Iraqi civilians. So to what extent then was the invasion driven by strategic interests such as oil, like we're seeing in Venezuela, regional influence, or maybe the U.S. security dominance in the Middle East? And how did the invasion of Iraq fit into, I suppose, the broader U.S. strategy of this unipolar power of the time? I'm happy to take your questions as well on 011-883-0702. If you've got inputs around this, you can send your WhatsApps as well on 072-702-1702. Thembisa Fakude is a Senior Research Fellow and Director at Africa-Asia Dialogues, joining us on the line. Thembisa, thank you so much for making time. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Why? Let's start with perhaps the reasons why the U.S. went to war in Iraq. Were the official reasons really the real reasons? Oh, Thembisa, the line is breaking there. I heard you properly as you were greeting, but the line is not holding. So let's try maybe put you on a different line, because that was via Zoom. I will try put you on a different line, and then we can continue this conversation. What are your thoughts? Let us know. Remember the reasons that the U.S. gave at the time when they were invading Iraq? It was very clear, right? They put out their reasons out there, but were those the real reasons? I mean, and of course, in the lead up to the Iraqi war, you had U.S. leaders citing these weapons of mass destruction. They were citing alleged links to terrorism, and all of this they were doing to justify the regime change invasion. And of course, in the case of Venezuela, the U.S. has framed President Nicolas Maduro's government in terms of, narco-terrorism, authoritarianism, democratic collapse, and the parallels are not identical, but sure are very, very, very quite structural. We've got Thembisa back on the line now, on a better line. Thembisa, I was asking earlier about the reasons that were given to the world to justify America going into Iraq. So were those official reasons the real reasons?
Well, no, of course not. And now we know that the world was taking on a false information about the invasion of Iraq. The Bush administration at the time claimed that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. But the reasons that drove that war were multifold at the time. And one was this industrial military complex. As you remember, the George Bush administration was very involved in the business and expansion of military business, including selling of military hardware to various countries in the Middle East. But at the same time, other people do believe that these military hardware had to be tested somehow, and the best way of testing this military hardware is to take it to a battlefield, and Iraq became that. As you know, the war continued for a very long time, and thousands of people killed. But in the meantime, it was the appropriate space through which the Americans and its allies, including the British, could test the effectiveness of these military hardware. So we find ourselves in similar position. Of course, oil was secondary at the time because Americans and other European nations had quite friendly relationships with the Gulf countries from which oil was exported. But the main aim, at least according to some of the research I came across, was about the viability and expansion of this military-industrial complex that everybody was talking about. And we saw the destruction that military proliferation, particularly in Iraq and surrounding areas, created.
And of course, with wars like this, you often have allies that would support. Which of its allies and neighbors, sort of supported, and which stood against? Are there specific allies of the U.S. which supported their invasion of Iraq?
Oh yes, and this was mainly led by the Bush, if you remember. But the European countries largely supported the invasion. NATO members supported the invasion. Kuwait, of course, had its own axe to grind with Iraq, supported this invasion. Iran, of course, it could not be as pronounced, but again, they also had a problem with Saddam Hussein, so it served their interest to get rid of Saddam Hussein, who was seen as a threat to the region. So there were a number of countries that supported. Countries that did not support, of course, were largely from the global south. South Africa was one of those. But internationally, if you look at Europeans and some of the Middle East countries, because Saddam Hussein to many other countries in the Middle East, particularly the neighboring countries, you remember, invaded Kuwait. He had a long war with Iran. So those countries did support him, including, of course, Saudi Arabia also was parcel of that. Qatar at the time had military bases. Or the reason why the Americans were able to fly and access certain parts of Iraq, they used the neighboring countries such as Jordan.
Did this Iraqi invasion weaken the authority of of international institutions like the United Nations? Because part of what we're asking ourselves now, looking at what's happening in Venezuela, is what can stop the U.S.? And if we're being honest, nothing really can, because we've been here before where international law is violated, and not only by the United States, and the United Nations has not really done much except just to condemn. So where was the United Nations then? Would you argue that that's when it began to be weakened, or are we at a worse environment now?
Well, it has never been effective. Every time the United Nations was effective, and we had certain expectation and hope. I wasn't born, but it was post-Second World War in 1945. The hope was that it was going to bring peace and stability throughout the world. But what we saw was that the first step of making it effective was sabotaged by the 5 permanent members within the United Nations Security Council who have the powers to veto. So American can veto any decision made by Russia or any other country. Other countries can also do this, including China. But this veto right, such as South Africa and other middle powers, are calling for the revamping of the United Nations Security Council. So the United Nations Security Council, the only thing that it's done was the sending of blue helmets to conflict areas. And those blue helmets, again, were also condemned for their complicity in other violations, whether it's raping en masse of women, particularly in certain African countries. Have never been really an effective platform. And United Nations will never go against these big powers or the P5, because if they do violate any of the laws and they do commit crimes against humanity, chances are when those resolutions are made against them, they'll just simply veto them. So we find ourselves in a situation where the world is actually on its own. The only platform that for a very long time at least tried to protect and promote democracy, notwithstanding that they were doing their own things on the side while pretending to be democratic, has been the United States. So the American exceptionalism at least helped to an extent. You know, you had someone who come and stand against atrocities and freedom of expression and freedom of the media. What you see now, American exceptionalism out the window. So we're once again on our own. And who have ever thought that our hope will lie on Russia and China, the very two nations that are also complicit and continue violating certain freedoms that you and I enjoy. So we're in a situation where the best we can do is to hope and expect that China and Russia will protect the little semblance of freedoms that we currently have, because Donald Trump has gone totally astray when it comes to those matters.
Yeah, someone said to me, the United Nations has become a humanitarian organization, and it's very difficult to disagree with that. Where is Iraq now since that invasion? Because, you know, part of the point I was making this morning on the open line is that you cannot have prosperity when there is instability. It's stability that produces prosperity. And historically, when you look at places that America has invaded, where America has quote-unquote intervened, you see that there is really chaos that is left. So has Iraq fully recovered its sovereignty? How was it left? And does foreign influence, especially from the U.S., still shape its politics?
Well, surprisingly, Iraq is doing fairly well. I mean, there's been construction taking place. I'm not sure, of course, about democratic institutions, but there's stability at the moment in Iraq. Although that it has been fragmented, Iraq was run by a Sunni Islam president, Saddam Hussein, notwithstanding that Iraq was majority Shia. But now you have that semblance of coexistence between the Sunni and the Shia, notwithstanding, of course, that now the Shia are more in charge of what's happening in Iraq. And that, to an extent, is encouraged by the neighboring Iran, which is also Shia. But the only difference, of course, in Iraq is that these are Arab Shia, whereas in Iran you have the Persian Shia. But things seem to be moving okay, even though there is now clear kind of cleavage in terms of the divisions between the Shia areas and the Sunni areas. Saddam Hussein came from a province called At-Takrit, which has been by and large Sunni, and that has helped to an extent in terms of getting those people to adhere to the new government and try and behave in a way. And the tribal areas, of course, are also now part and parcel of the government, so they have been co-opted into the new government. So there is a lot of progress happening at the moment in Iraq. If you go to Iraq, particularly Baghdad, it's buzzing at the moment with economic activity and all of that. And I think it will further be assisted by the peace that's been pushed at the moment in Syria in terms of ensuring that progresses. But the politics of association continues to proliferate. The Iraqis will never make it without the American support and support of the powers, particularly countries such as Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. So the situation is much, much more better than it was. Mr. Baghdadi, who was the founder who started what is known as ISIS, others call it, has since disappeared. Daesh, which was or ISIL, which was very strong in Iraq, has since disappeared. All the other small fringe groups that used to terrorize the Iraqis are not to be seen anymore because, again, of the military investment by the Gulf states in particular and United States. So it's all systems go in Iraq, and one, of course, hopes that with Syria stabilizing under Ahmed al-Shara, the new president of Syria, things will also improve. further.
So, do you think that regime change tactics have actually evolved over time? Because with Iraq, we saw change through military invasion. When you look at how they're going about it in Venezuela, regime change appears to have been, well, at least initially, pursued through sanctions, through diplomatic pressure, through support for opposition figures. Are these different tools serving the same strategic objective?
They're never successful. I mean, notwithstanding what I've said about Iraq, but Iraq is now fragmented. We've got a strong man syndrome taking place. Certain territories will never be controlled by the national government of Iraq. So the chance of Syria, for example, you see what's happening at the moment in Aleppo and other regions. Even in Yemen, you've got the Houthis, even though just claimed victory in the Southern Transition Council, but there is this fragmentation. The Houthis are entrenched, and that part of Yemen will be a separate country, whether we like it or not. So the danger of these regime changes is that you've got other opportunistic interventions within these countries that will then secede and form their own territories, and that in itself creates problems, because if you're going to have that, those that happen to belong to a state that is not dominating politics of that particular region that has been seceded will then start feeling aggrieved and deprived of certain, and that creates another strife. And this is what's happening to an extent in Iraq. I don't.
Thembisa, the line is really disappointing us. I think I'll leave it there because it's getting worse and worse. But I think we managed to get most out of you, at least during the second attempt. Thank you for making time for us, Thembisa Fakude. He's a senior research fellow and director at Africa-Asia Dialogues, talking to us about Iraq. This is part of a series that we started today, and we're going to do this every single Monday at 10:30. Where we look at countries that have been invaded by the U.S. What were the reasons given at the time? This, I hope, helps you sort of pick up the similarities between and the language that is being used by America today to justify what they've done in Venezuela and what they may potentially do in other countries as it tries to assert its authority in the Western Hemisphere. So we started with Iraq today. Tomorrow, because it is a long list, I mean, next week we'll pick another country that's been invaded by the U.S. and look at where it is now and what were the reasons for going in. 3 minutes before 11.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Supercharge your business productivity with Moloi Innovative Solutions. We bring the most highly customized and cost-effective IT infrastructure to your fingertips. Whether it's desktop and server support, cloud services or hardware, software and printer procurement, our dynamic team makes sure that you have the tech that resonates with you. Moloi Innovative Solutions. Experience at its best. Get to molois.co.za for more.
There's heading out for the weekend, and then there's heading out for the weekend in your Ford Everest. With terrain modes for any road conditions and seats comfier than your leather couch, it's not just traveling, it's exploring. That's peak living in the Ford Everest, starting from only 837,500. And with our Ford Family Promise, you have access to a 60-minute express service because your vehicle deserves a pit crew too. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. T&Cs apply.
Infrastructure, capital, industrial renewal.
This Wednesday, Nedbank CIB joins Clement Manyathela for a conversation on unlocking South Africa's economic potential through strategic infrastructure investment. How do we mobilize capital at scale? What role do credible partnerships play in turning infrastructure projects into industrial renewal? From energy and logistics to bankable projects that rebuild confidence. It's a discussion focused on execution, not ambition. Don't miss this crucial discussion on the Clement Manyathela Show, Wednesday, 14 January, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on 702.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Private investigator Paul O'Sullivan is adamant that he will not appear in person before the Parliament's ad hoc committee probing police corruption. Speaking to EWN, O'Sullivan raised concerns about his personal safety. He believes appearing before Parliament in Cape Town will make him a target and expose him to the possibility of being killed. Oren Singh reports.
Private investigator Paul O'Sullivan has agreed to appear before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing police corruption virtually and not in person. O'Sullivan is on a list of several notable figures who are expected to appear before the committee this month. This includes Head of Crime Intelligence Dumisani Khumalo and former IPID boss Robert McBride. O'Sullivan claims he informed Parliament as early as November last year that he will not appear in person due to safety concerns.
Any attempt to get me into a position where I will be unarmed and can be murdered, I'm going to resist. I've got a constitutional right to life. And I note that it's criminals in Parliament that are calling for me to attend in person, and I'm not going to fall for that trick from criminals.
Oral hearings are scheduled to resume this week, with former Acting National Police Commissioner Khumotso Polane set to appear on Wednesday. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
The Rustenburg local municipality has blamed its service delivery challenges to a lack of resources. This follows repeated concerns by residents about bad roads, persistent water and electricity outages, and poor maintenance of public spaces. Some residents have taken matters into their own hands in the last attempt to fix their communities, including a man who says he spent his money transforming a neglected field into a park. Speaking on the sidelines of the ANC's birthday rally in the Northwest this weekend, Rustenburg Mayor Sheila Mabale-Huma urged communities to continue playing their role.
And we're encouraging other community members to adopt a park, to take care of the parks that are around, to take care of what belongs to them, because as well as the municipality, we are also assisting, but with the little resources that we have, we are the heavy number of parks that we have to develop.
DA member and Rustenburg's Ward 16 councillor Johan Krunier says residents are not getting value from the municipality for the rates and taxes they pay.
There's been a complete and utter failure on the municipality side in maintaining its green spaces, in maintaining roads, in maintaining stormwater. You've got civic organisations like Our Ward Matters that was established in Ward 17. They've been doing phenomenal work in my ward and across Rustenburg with cleaning and tidying up of areas. So the municipality is definitely failing in that instance.
And British police have revealed that London has recorded the lowest number of homicides in more than a decade. The Metro says there were 97 killings in the capital last year, a decrease compared to 2024's figure of 109. This comes weeks after U.S. President Donald Trump claimed crime levels were crazy and that police did not want to patrol some parts of London. Police have consistently rubbished the claims. London Mayor Sadiq Khan has told Sky News this morning that the decrease in homicide cases is because of relentless work by police.
We're one of the safest, if not the safest, cities in the world when it comes to homicide. We are safer than Paris, than Milan, than Rome, than Brussels, than Berlin, 2.5 times safer than New York, 5 times safer than LA, 12 times safer than Chicago. Every US state has a higher homicide rate than London.
Gold is trading at $4,579.65 an ounce. The rand is at 16.43 to the dollar, 22.09 to the pound, 19.18 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.52 a barrel.
Traffic lights out of order in Douglasdale at Leslie and Douglas Drive. There's also faulty traffic lights in Midrand at Olifantsfontein Road in the N1, as well as in Randburg at Witkoppen and Riverbend.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers, then thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Private investigator Paul O'Sullivan is adamant that he will not appear in person before Parliament's ad hoc committee that's investigating police corruption.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And thank you so much for, of course, some of the questions that you had sent in the previous segment. We just were disappointed with the line. It wasn't so good. But there were some interesting questions coming through about America invading Iraq. And next week, on Monday at exactly the same time, we'll pick another country that America has invaded so we can help you understand how it all started. Because there's a particular way that it normally starts, right? The justifications, you've got to frame situations in a particular way and frame the conversation in a particular way so that the next time you act, you don't need to over-justify. That work has already been done. So we'll pick another country next week and take your questions as well. Time now, though, for our Family Matters feature.
702.
Family Matters.
So on our Family Matters feature today, I want us to have a conversation about how we can build new habits, these positive traditions within the family unit. Because sometimes we can be a family, but we do things separately and we don't find time to be together. And to be together doesn't necessarily need you to be spending money or even lots of money, because there are some people who think, yeah, but we don't have money to travel, or, you know, there's no opportunities for us to sit together and do a braai. But you can always find opportunities to create meaningful traditions and habits that bring the family closer together. And in this world where we're always on the go, it's easy to, of course, lose touch with the people who matter the most, right? But what if you could create traditions that bring these people together and just reminds them that they are within this beautiful, loving bubble, this beautiful, loving community? We're going to take your calls on 011-883-0702. You can share your own experiences with how you have built traditions with your family. And what are those traditions and habits? What do? Do you meet over? You make sure every Christmas we have to be together? Is it more about having that annual family holiday? Is it about we have to make sure we're there at each other's birthdays? What is it? Do we take walks together? Share your ways and your traditions as a family and what the impact of that has been. 011-883-0702. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Mutlodi Montle is a life coach and founder of Center for Empowerment Ministries, joining us in studio to have a conversation about this. Thank you so much for your time, Mutlodi. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to come and spend some time with you today. I really appreciate it.
Why is it important for us as a family to do things together, to find these traditions and habits?
I think firstly we need to address the elephant in the room in terms of the definition of family. I remember whilst I was an educator, I used to get frustrated when I would ask questions to students learners per se to say, give me your view of what family is. And I discovered that the textbook definition of family contradicts the real life definition of family, because the textbook says mama, papa, siblings, but in the true sense of the word, reality says it's not always like that, and then that affects how we address the question that you are posing now, because in most cases you'll find that it's mama and the kids, or papa and the kids, or mama and papa without the kids, or sometimes the kids on their own. We've got these child-headed families, and there's disruptions also that happens, that maybe papa passes on, mama passes on, divorce, separations, and all that. And therefore it affects the manner and the methodologies that we are supposed to embrace in terms of creating a culture of spending time together as families. And sometimes when you mention family, somebody will cringe, maybe because it touches a nerve of saying, remember, papa is not there, mama is not there, or now we are on our own. So what do we have to do? So we cannot prescribe that there is a fixed approach or methodology to say this is how it's supposed to be. It is now then household specific to say, under these circumstances, that is what we can do. If I am left with my siblings as a child-headed family, then that means I need to create a new culture to say, this is how we're going to spend time together. Or if I've got estranged siblings or parents, or absent father, absent mother, this is how we are going to spend time together as family, and this is the culture that we are going to embrace. And that on its own then gives us a challenge to say we need to be a little bit flexible to say this to spend time together is household specific, to say in this scenario, this is how we are going to do it. In this scenario, this is how we're going to do it. And we can't compare, because scenarios are not the same.
And of course, families are different.
Totally
there are
different.
families who will enjoy watching TV together. There's a specific program that they enjoy together, or they'll play games together. But other families are not like that. The challenge now becomes, what happens when you feel like there's a lot of burden on you to start the traditions? Because there are families out there. We come from, some of us, parents who were just concerned with making sure that we survive, we go to school, we build our lives. There's no relationship of, I do remember my mom through society thing. Like with the other women from the society, they used to take us on the 16th of December to some river somewhere in Mpumalanga.
And we
braai and have cold drink. But you see, that's not family. That's like my mother's extension of what maybe is family to her. So in a case like that, where siblings are living their different lives and they were just raised like that. There's never been time together as a family. Where do you begin to even establish that? Because that gets cringy. Like, what are you saying? I must call mom and dad and say, we're going to Cape Town together, or we're going to Sun City together. But we've never been in a space like that. So where does one even begin to cultivate that?
I think it's somebody needs to be intentional to create their own culture. Because you can't copy it from somewhere. Because sometimes we want to become things that we have never observed. So sometimes we have to be trendsetters and create new paths to say, this is how I believe that we can spend time together. I remember in my family, my father's side, every New Year or the 16th, then they will come together from Sbuking, Kaikai, and then they meet in one of the brothers' household, and Borangwane, Mbumangwane, and us, we are there. But as time goes on, that thing faded away. Then it was left with us in the household, then whereby we as siblings, we have to come together. Now we have got children, we have got grandchildren. Now the family is expanding. Now when we have to come together, they want the grandchild with the mother to come and join the father. So you see, then that means somebody needs to be intentional to say, look, I have to be flexible. It's not a rigid culture that we need to do that. We have to take it as it comes. Like now we've got technology. We can have a family gathering with people who are in the UK, everywhere, just over the screen and just talk and have fun. So it's just being intentional to say, am I going to let it go, or am I going to try to adjust to the trends and the times that we are living in? And secondly, the issues of finance. Because if as you just mentioned, or Nini would just say, let's go to Cape Town. It's not as easy as it is now, because now I'm worried about school fees, stationery, and all that, bills that have to be paid and things like that. So it needs a flexible mind, because if you are rigid, it's going to frustrate you to say, I want it like this. And if it doesn't happen, then you become upset and you feel that your efforts are not taken into consideration.
Yeah, and there are other traditions that don't necessarily require finances like that.
Yeah, true.
Could be, every Friday end of the year, we just chill and we are together.
Very true.
And we're going to watch our favorite movie as a family.
As a family.
Or we're going to go for a hike and they're coming to visit you wherever you live.
Yeah, very true.
What are the benefits, though, of coming together like that? Because I know with my family, we try and have like an annual family holiday where we take the parents, my siblings, wife, children. And I find that, one, it works, and I'm just using my own practical example and experiences. It works in that, one, you're building great memories.
Right.
I know that when my parents are no longer there, there's a memory that will always be there, that will make him smile.
Yeah.
But two, I realize that you also pick up new things about family members. Like I pick up something maybe about my brother that, this is interesting. Or during a conversation with your dad or your mom or another sibling, which I find that really interesting. We get to really know each other.
Yeah. I think the biggest benefit is legacy. Yeah, because especially as men, I need to be specific on that, to say we are part of our responsibilities is to maintain the family legacy. And so as we get together, let's say you are the big brother, you then have that opportunity through conversations to say, hey, how are you doing? What's going on with your life? How's business? How's work? How's school? And then you then have to know the children. Then you have got to know the cousins and so on and so on. So you then become responsible to continue to emphasize the legacy of the family. Yeah. So I think for me, that is the biggest benefit. Apart from where are you staying, what car you are driving, and so on. But what matters the most is say, let us make sure that the culture, the culture is getting together, it's supporting each other, it's helping each other, it's opening doors for each other. So the legacy for me is the biggest benefit of why we should come together as families.
011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. I'd like to hear your own experiences of the traditions and habits in your own family. What do you guys do? What are maybe new habits that you have built as a family, or maybe the recurring ones? Maybe you have an annual holiday as a family. How does that go? How does it benefit you to have these traditions where you come together as a family? Or maybe every Christmas you've got to be home and enjoy time with the family. Or maybe for you we take walks, on this specific time of the month. Or what is it that brings you together as a family? And what's been the benefit for the entire family? 072-702-1702. That's where you can send us your WhatsApp voice notes. Please share your experiences with us. And I'm very well aware that there are, of course, people who cannot do something like this, where they cultivate a kind of tradition in the family unit because maybe you don't get along with your siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah? Or maybe you don't get along with your own mother. You've not spoken in 2 years. Or
Very true.
So how do you still maintain that tradition, whether with the people that you get along with, or is it completely suspended until all of us get along? What is your context? What's your scenario and how you're navigating it? Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on PrimeMediaPlus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 7:02. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the PrimeMediaPlus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
New year, new you, same trusted We Buy Cars since 2001. Whether you're buying or selling, We Buy Cars makes the process simple and seamless. Simplify or just simply go to webuycars.co.za to complete the Sell My Car form for an offer, or you could browse through thousands of vehicles of all shapes and sizes. Ready to buy, sell, or trade in? Well, visit webuycars.co.za or one of their branches nationwide.
The Dis-Chem Better Rewards program is here, and every time you shop and save, you're also giving back. Each time you swipe, not only are you rewarded, but a percentage of your purchase is donated to the Dis-Chem Foundation to support communities in need. So why wait? Sign up to become a Better Rewards member today and support with every swipe. Dis-Chem Foundation, caring for the community.
We at Monument Dental are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702.
Family Matters.
22 minutes after 11 o'clock, we're in conversation with Motlhodi Montle, who is a life coach and founder of Center for Empowerment Ministries. And we're talking about building new habits and positive traditions as a family. How are you building new habits as a family? Maybe you're focusing on being more healthier as a family. Maybe you have decided that, okay, we need less screen time. Let's have more one-on-ones, chat to each other. What traditions, new traditions, are you building for your family? Maybe you already have, established habits already, but there's new ones that you are building up, particularly for this year. And Motlhodi, just off air, we were talking about the impact of culture.
Of culture, yeah.
Right, and how we even formulate these kind of traditions.
Yeah. It is very important that we also take that into consideration, because in certain cultures, the issues of coming together are just aliens, or they're just very far. Yeah, they are not even part of the structures of the family going forward. So you may find that somebody says, why is Clement asking this question? Because for me, it doesn't exist. We just live each other. We just live our lives, as it comes. And so, but there are those who are seriously deep rooted in terms of whether you like it or not. Every December or every January or Reakopana, we meet and we do catch up. We slaughter a sheep or an animal. We have food, we have drinks, we watch the kids play. And now we've got issues that are happening, especially in our country, issues around safety, criminal activities, even space. You can no longer go and just occupy a park and it's you and you alone with your family. Then there's guys there who are having music on highest volume. And therefore, certain things, as I said earlier on, they need high levels of flexibility. Even our youth culture right now, the kids, when you say we are going for a picnic, they rather say no, we are going to a concert. So it just needs high levels of flexibility, as I'm emphasizing, to say this is how it's supposed to be.
All right, let's go to some WhatsApp voice notes. 0727021702.
Hi, Clement. Compliments to you and your guest in the studio. Clement, good topic that you guys have chosen today. With me, I can say that it's luck sometimes that we find people within your blood, your family, that you can cooperate together and work together. But with my family, I've come to realize that no, that's not the case. And the only way things can work better is when we give each other space and let's not try to enforce things. So I've tried to work around the idea of keeping the family together, but one was very discouraged and not supported. So the only thing I think that's peaceful is we love each other, but with space.
Yeah,
That's deep.
I love you from afar.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, that's
that's very.
But that's a reality.
It's
for
a
some
reality.
families out there where
Very true.
they know that leave.
Yeah.
When there's a funeral, that's when you know everybody's gonna come.
It's gonna be there.
But
Beyond
Christmas,
that,
do your thing.
Yeah, I'll do mine. So it's. I mean, this is painful. What this caller just said now. It's a painful reality to say. It's a king. Whether it could be a happy Christmas or WhatsApp, it's fine. I've done my job. Because I know that once we can be in the same room, it might turn chaotic.
Yeah.
Things may get out of order. There is somebody who made fun of this getting together. When we meet in the morning, it's food and everybody's fine. But after Bevs, then defile the odds.
And all the secrets and,
and
what you did in
1995. So those are some of the things that people are trying to avoid just for peace. I think, that is a sad reality.
What opportunity then presents itself here? Because, I mean, if really that's how your family is, then you have an opportunity if you are, I don't know, this listener who sent us a voice note, if you're married or you are partnered or you've got kids, that's an opportunity for you to start those
your
habits.
Own.
Yes.
Yeah, you start your own. You see, and hence I said you need to be a trendsetter. Because you can't copy and paste. Even though you were used to a certain type of how things are supposed to be done. But the challenges of life have a tendency of saying, let me restart the engine. Let me start from me. If it is me alone, it's okay. Then it could be me. If I've got children, it could be me with my kids, Then you work it as times goes on.
Get a family friend.
Our
friends today become our families.
Exactly.
Our neighbors become our families.
Very
so
true.
There's a community out there that still exists.
And you discover that most of our friends are closer to us than our own
siblings.
Yeah.
Mahlodi has sent us a message from Pretoria and says, Clement, we have family gatherings every year with our extended families, Bomalume, Bomamaholo, Bomani, and all their children. We all gather at one family home. We contribute money for food, but it's challenging when others are not taking, or when others are not talking, or they just don't want to come. Fela, WhatsApp drama. The aim, though, is to bring all family members together. It really seems like a lot of people are trying to avoid
this
drama.
Drama.
So you end up saying, do what you will do.
Very true.
Yeah, and as we said, of course, families are different.
Yeah.
Of course, there are other people who have been violated when they were young.
Exactly.
Like the very same family members who now want them to come and be jolly at these gatherings.
And there is that uncle.
Yes. Who's going to be there?
That did me wrong.
Yes.
And I'm expected to be a nice person around him.
And because we bury things as well.
Oh, yeah.
As families, we don't talk about these things.
Yeah, and we have got deep-seated issues against each other. Maybe I overheard my parents arguing, saying, so-and-so did this, and they were not aware that I am listening. And now when we get together, when that same person whose name was mentioned pops in, they hug them and they embrace them, and then you go like, but yesterday this is what you were saying about this one. Now we are lovey-dovey, you see. So those are some of the things, as you mentioned, that we were violated. We were mistreated, we were rejected, and now that we are doing well, when we come to family gatherings, some of them, they're using the gatherings to deal with those people that have violated us.
11:30. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. We'll continue this conversation after the latest in Eyewitness News. But please keep sending your WhatsApp voice notes and calling us to share what your family traditions are or what they used to be. Because maybe for some of you, there are things that have happened and you no longer have those habits or traditions anymore with the family. Are you starting and building on new ones? What's your context? Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note. And what's the benefit of that for you as an individual? Or even the benefit broadly on your family? Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Basic Education Minister Siviwe Kwagube has heaped praise on the country's top matric achievers. Speaking in Johannesburg this morning at the National Senior Certificate Top Achievers Breakfast and Awards Ceremony, she said true excellence is not just about top academic results, but about perseverance. 40 learners from various schools in the countries are being honoured today. We move to the Western Cape, where the Disaster Management and Fire and Rescue Services Department says it's recorded double the number of call-outs compared to the previous fire season as firefighting efforts continue in parts of the province. The department has contracted 21 helicopters to provide aerial support to ground crews across the province. Chief Director Colin Dana says one structure was lost in the Paarl and Franschhoek fire, which has since been contained. Meanwhile, the Wimmershoek fire near Franschhoek remains active. And the South African Weather Service has issued an orange level 9 warning for disruptive rain in Limpopo and Mpumalanga today. This is up from yesterday's level 6 warning. Both provinces have been battered by heavy rains for several days due to tropical moisture. Widespread flooding and damage to infrastructure is again expected today. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this hour, if you're heading into the Joburg CBD, that's coming from the Riverlea area. Traffic is a bit sluggish. This is on Main Reef Road between Production and the M2. Otherwise, the rest of 702 land free flowing. No accidents have been reported on our highways. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in 4 ways at Witkoppen and Leslie. Traffic lights also not working in Midrand at Olifantsfontein Road and the N1. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Building a life across borders starts with choices. Visas, a second passport, citizenship, your child's education abroad, and sometimes those choices can be overwhelming. For 30 years, Sable International has simplified global mobility, including cross-border tax, forex, and wealth management, helping you make the right choices with expertise and care. Build your future beyond borders. Visit us at sableinternational.com.
You may be paying more for groceries, but with insurance, you could be saving on your car insurance. Like 63-year-old Almero, who saves an unbelievable 417 Rand on his 2021 Ford Ranger. Get a quote now. And if insurance can save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim free and with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed, insured, and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort.
You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery and unveiling benefits. Apply today, it's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
702.
Family Matters.
25 minutes before 12 o'clock, we're having a conversation about family traditions on our Family Matters feature this morning. Do you have family traditions? Are you building new habits and positive traditions? Do you come together during a specific period in the year? Do you have a thing about each other's birthdays where you have to come together? What are those family traditions that have benefited you guys? Or maybe for you, they didn't benefit you guys, but there were lots of fights that came up every time there is a gathering. You can share your experience, whether it's positive or negative, about family habits and what you are doing, perhaps, if anything at all, to build new ones with your own immediate family. Kamogelo, you're calling us from Pretoria. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Hi, Clement and guest. In 2021, I started a family tradition of so that we make Christmas exciting for the little ones, for my nieces and nephews, and the family as well. It was because COVID taught me that, family can collapse in any time. And, with wanting to cherish my family, making sure that we do spend quality time together. We make sure that I had a Christmas tree, have a Christmas gifts under a Christmas tree, make sure that the children are happy. With our generation growing up in a poor background, we did not have much to enjoy about Christmas. And for that, I made sure that changes with the little ones so that we give them a new memory to share rather than with us.
Oh, that's and has it been kept since 2021?
I've kept it ever since. Last year I could not go home, but throughout the year I don't buy gifts on December. I make sure that from the beginning of the year I buy gifts one by one, even though when I have money and so on. And I make sure that in December they all have gifts. And then last year I couldn't go, but I joined them with WhatsApp video call. And I actually felt like I was there. Every family member was there to keep up with the tradition, although I didn't have money to go home. But we did have a pleasant Christmas.
Yeah, no, kudos to you, Kamohela, for starting that tradition for the entire family. Here's some WhatsApp voice notes that have also come through.
Hi, Clement. Good topic. I think on how we can instill positivity with our family is to show a bit of affection, which can primarily, without even having to make it tedious and more admin, just by picking up a call, 2, 3, 5 minutes phone call to your brother, to your cousin, just asking them how they're doing, if they're okay, how's things going at work, just to get in touch with their emotions. And just by doing that, it will gradually escalate to a point whereby there'll be a need to meet up, as opposed to now we're living in a very, 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 very busy environment where it's very difficult to get everyone into one space. You understand? So for me, it's like just that simple phone call asking loved ones on how they're doing. I think that should be a great kickstart.
Good morning, Clement, and compliments of the new year. Welcome back. This is a very interesting topic about families and stuff. I'm over 60 now, and the last time we had any kind of a family gathering was like maybe 30 years ago when our parents were still alive. All of us, cousins and all. The best way now we use, or that presents itself to us to gather together, is a funeral. And we're all happy about that because we just exchange numbers and we laugh, we go down memory lane, and that's it. until the next funeral.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And guess what we say to each other at the funeral? We have to hang
We
around.
have to meet.
We have to meet, man. We
Yes.
can't meet at places like
Yeah,
this.
why are
And we say
Kopaseke
that
Mafu?
all the
Lies.
time. Lies, lies, lies. But look, as long as it gives you peace.
Yeah,
Because
true.
what's the point of forcing a gathering if it's going to be a disaster?
It's going to be a disaster.
Or what's the point of forcing people to come together if some don't even talk to each other? Yeah, it becomes quite hectic.
tedious.
What do you think of what the other listener said about phone calls? Like, just pick up the call.
Yeah, hence I said sometimes you can even go further. Just send a WhatsApp because sometimes the tone on the other side might actually send a very wrong message to you if you are able to hear deeper. So it's just to reach out as far as you can go. It's better than nothing. It's better than silence. You know, that's why even during this time of family gatherings, others just choose to post on social media to my family, my friends out there, you know, happy happy new year, happy this, because the further you are, the more peaceful I am. Yeah. And then the more closer we can get together, it can become chaotic. So everybody has a responsibility to create their own culture. And that is key. And no one can come and say, Clement, this is how we are supposed to do it. No, they must be considerate of your circumstances to say, does your circumstance accommodate what I feel that this is what you are supposed to do, or the approach that you need to adopt in terms of family gatherings.
Yeah, I wonder, what is it about funerals that has the ability to, you know, get us to be so brave to go? Because some people have not even been home in decades, and now there's a funeral and they will go.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. It's limited. So I can tolerate you for an hour.
Yeah.
We meet at church, we go to the graveside, we come back, we
It's
eat.
quickly in and out.
After that,
But you could come to a wedding as well.
Yeah.
It's also going to be quick. You can manage it and leave in an hour.
in an hour. So it's just that funerals are better because they force you to become what you are not. So like if a person sees you and say, wow, Sanag, I would say, my heart was painful because of the sadness of the situation.
I think funerals are very confronting.
Yeah, they
And I
are.
think they challenge our core and they remind us that we're not here forever.
No.
And I think there's a sense we get when there are funerals that reminds us of the importance of belonging.
Yeah.
So family becomes more important. Friendships become... I mean, when you lose a friend, you start appreciating friends more. When
But
you lose one parent, you start appreciating the remaining parent more.
The funny part is what happens Komatrasi, because that is where real confrontation takes place.
Are taking place.
Yeah, so the other one just said, no, I'll come when you are going to the church, or I'll come when you're going to the graveside. From there, from the graveside, I'm going back home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for listeners who have never really had family traditions? What are some of the ways that families can create lasting memories through these shared experiences? Like what do you think is the most important things when it comes to creating family traditions? What's your advice? Where do they begin?
The first thing is take notes of who you are and where you are. You know, that is very important. Check your personal circumstances. Where are you at? And then from there you can then say, and then you can say, from here, I can take baby steps in terms of creating a new culture. So in other words, you can't compete or compare or copy. You know, you need to take care of who you are and say, in my current situation, I'm a widow, I'm a widower, I'm a single parent, I'm this and that. This is how I'm going to manage, this situation with myself and my children. As you mentioned also that you can have friends that are now so close to you to say, this is the path that I may take. To say, my friends know that every time we have this gathering, we come together as friends and we end up being family. So don't put yourself under pressure to copy Clement, to copy Muntle, to copy any other person, but just take time with yourself. Take stock of who you are, where you are, and how, and also the resources that you have to say, this is what I can do. This is how far I can go. This is who I can start with. This is those I need to put them aside and just create my own path.
Yeah. Colette, you're in North Riding. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement and the listeners, and
Sure.
compliments of the new year, everybody.
Thanks. Compliments to you.
Thanks. So I just wanted to share my story. My three sisters have got these children that range from the 23-year to the 16-year-old. So what they started, like every December, they will go to either myself or my other two sisters to do things in December. But in 2024, they started a different tradition. Beginning of 2024, they started planning what they're going to do that year. So they were this side in Johannesburg. So what they would do is they would plan the Christmas by wherever they would be, like in different areas. They would go to Gold Reef, so they would do all of those things together as 6 children. In 2025, they then saved money every month for all of these things that they do. So for me, and this year, 2 of them are getting their matric results. Like, they talk to each other every year, every day or every month. But I'm just saying that these are kids that have decided to start a tradition. And it puts a good view for us as parents that maybe we have modeled something for them, that as 3 sisters, we get along in the way that we do. And as for the tomorrow, you should see, they were planning on going all to Emilo to support the others. So it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping and praying that it continues, because it can't stop. But anyway, I just wanted to share that and that experience. Thanks.
Oh, I love that. It cannot stop.
Yeah. And funny enough, it starts with the kids. You see now that sometimes you can have a child that is passionate about that. So you just need to let them run with the project, and then you give them the support.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I've seen how also even with us as cousins, because of our parents have started that kind of tradition where we often come together, especially on big days like Christmas and etc. Last year it was the cousins who actually organized the Let's Come Together.
Thank you.
So to your point, it does, once you just started, and you may be lucky enough to have children that sort of continue with that tradition.
Carry the baton.
Yes.
Yeah.
So someone was asking about, does the tradition have to be annual? Must it be seasonal? Like, how do you frame it? But you did say in the beginning that just do what you guys are comfortable with. You don't have to copy something else.
Yeah.
Just because there's a family out there that meets once every year, or that doesn't have to be how you do yours.
Yeah, I think what matters the most, Clement, is the atmosphere that we create. Look, we can't meet. Others can meet monthly or quarterly or annually, but the contact or the conversations or the communication should be something that is ongoing. Hence, we have groups. There are groups, there are family groups that talk to each other every day. Like, they send your good morning messages, but they are not together. But they are keeping the fire burning. Until then, somebody will pop in a notice to say, guys, end of the year we are meeting. But they don't talk at the end of the year. They talk from January for December. But in the middle, they share jokes, they share inspirational messages and things like that. So that's how it's supposed to be. There must be momentum that is maintained, in the middle of everything before we go to the big event. Because obviously there should be a big event. That is where we see each other physically, and then we share the jokes that we're sharing online with each other in the groups and things like that. So the momentum must be kept. That then becomes the fuel of making us to look forward to to meeting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then someone else on Twitter says, Clement, I feel like the burden is on me. So how do I then ensure that there's consistency with our family traditions and habits? Because it feels like all the responsibility is on me. I think this probably is an experience of a lot of people out there who feel if they don't suggest that lunch, if they don't suggest the Christmas dinner or whatever, the getting together or the family holiday,
Nobody's
nothing is
gonna come on
happen.
board. Yeah, true.
So what do you do? Do you then just accept that maybe you are the chosen one to keep it going?
Yeah, I think it will be a blessing if you pick up Hori. If I don't say anything, nobody's gonna do anything. So then accept that, but have a thick skin, because sometimes you will suggest something and then you get a backlash to say, it's a waste of time. Monies are not we are not fine financial and things like that. So once you are the chosen one, as you are saying, to accept it, you must accept it with an expectation that things are not always going to be as you wish or as you want, But if you happen to be that type of a person, go forth, do it. Create the momentum. Greet everybody in the morning, so that they know that you are there and you care about them, So we can't show caring as we meet physically. We can show caring about each other even when we are, distant from each other.
Yeah. Mfundo, you're in Pretoria. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Clement, and good morning, Matlodi, and everybody who's listening. Lovely show, beautiful topic. My contribution here, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
My contribution is that most of these things that we're talking about are limited by the availability of funds and how they are deployed. So when you want to establish a long-lasting, what you call family tradition of togetherness, also consider the financial implications and work around it. For instance, what we do in our circles, we've established little businesses designed specifically just for leisure time. And we all contribute during the course of the year. And then when you come together, there isn't a big financial burden on one or few of the members of the family. That way it helps to plan, and then it also brings together the younger generation, have them discuss something that they have in common with a common goal. So saving together for the gathering helps a lot in our instances.
Yeah, that's true. Important. Thank you so much, Mfundo, for that. There's something though that I've also sort of picked up, Matlodi, where sometimes, and I'm picking up on what he's saying about contributions. There are some people that may not be able to contribute because the fact that all of us are employed doesn't mean we all have, buying power. We all have that money available. Or rent 3,000 each or whatever, 1,000 each. So how do you then balance that? Because I think that when you structure it like that, or all of us are contributing this, there are certain people who may want to be there who are, yes, working, but maybe they're in a very difficult financial position.
I think the momentum that I spoke about, where we do what we call check-ins, can then send, can create a stage to say, okay, family X or brother X or sister X might not be able to contribute as we want, and then the leader, the chosen one, will be able to say, okay, fine, instead of 10 rand, let's contribute 11 rand. Then the 1 rand will cover the ones, just for now until they are up on their feet again. So it just needs a harmonious atmosphere, because where there is harmony, it is easy for somebody even to say, look, I think I'm in a very good state in terms of finances. For this year, 2026, I will carry the whole budget. Those things happen. but they come out as a result of the harmony that is created beforehand, And even that person who says, I will carry the whole budget, then maybe he might encourage the other one to say, no, 2027 is mine, 2028 is mine. So that is the momentum I was talking about, to say, let's keep the spirit of the family together and alive continuously, daily, if possible, so that whenever there is a project that needs to be embarked on, we just come in. No more politics.
Yeah.
We have sorted those things out when we created the momentum.
Yeah, Tsapo says, hi Clement, what if me and my family, we love each other, but we're just not close? And
It's
again, this is a reality.
It's a
That's
reality.
why there are some families that are...
That's true.
This is how you were raised.
Yeah.
They raised you. There's never really been a relationship of
Yeah.
sorts. So,
Yes, it's
we're going to
like-
sit there and talk about what? Who's going to start the conversation? Now it's going to be awkward
Which
silence.
direction is going to take?
Yeah.
We don't know each other. In fact, we don't relate.
Mm.
So we can't even strike a fake conversation because I don't know what you like. Whether you're a sports person or a political person or a business person, I don't know what you're going to talk about.
Can you imagine, and maybe this is where we'll do part 2 of the conversation, because I'm just wondering about like women or men who are married into families that do not have that. And for you, this is something that you have been used to before.
Yeah. I feel
Right, where you are, and how now either you're marrying into a family that just doesn't do that, and it's just weird for you. You don't know how to navigate that. Or you're marrying into a family that does that, but you're a person that's never been used to that because you've always wanted to mind your business, just call each other on birthdays, and that's it. But maybe something we can pick up in part 2 of our conversation. Thank you so much for making time for us.
I appreciate it.
That is Motlhodi Montle, who is the life coach and founder of Center for Empowerment Ministries. I hope you've been encouraged to start something with your family, and if circumstances allow, it's not too late to begin. And if you haven't done that with your own parents, you've got the opportunity now to do it with your own family, and you can pick people that are family to you, right? If the circumstances around your own, biological family don't allow. It's 3 minutes now before 12.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Corporates that care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9 featuring APSA. Their CEO, Kenny Fihla, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. So join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
LLB graduates can fast-track their legal career with the Law Society of South Africa's PVT School for Legal Practice. LPC accredited, this 4-month practice-ready course, which is taught by practicing lawyers, can reduce your PVT contract by 12 months for admission. Study by day, after hours, or via distance at campuses nationwide. The first 2026 intake runs from January to April. Applications close 31 October 2025. Apply now at lssalead.org.za. That's lssalead.org.za.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Hello, Mandy Wiener.
Hello, Clement
Happy
Manyathela.
New Year.
Compliments.
Yeah. Can we only do that today, please? So from tomorrow, no Happy New Year's.
I agree with
no
you.
compliments.
I agree with you.
What's happening on the show today?
So matric results being released tonight. The Basic Education Minister, Siviwe Gwachube, has been congratulating the star achievers. We'll also speak to the IEB CEO about their results. The DA is calling for police to wear body cameras. Particularly in KZN because of police operations there. So we'll find out about that. Also interesting in light of this ICE shooting in America.
Minnesota.
Yeah, in Minnesota. Jacob Zuma has applied for Judge Gampepe's recusal from the TRC Commission. We'll get an update on the Cape Winelands fires and the Kruger National Park floods. And then we're going to wrap up the sport this weekend.
All right, that's what's coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Thank you for listening to the Clement Manyathela Show, my first show for 2026. I hope you're going to have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. Private investigator Paul O'Sullivan is adamant that he will not appear in person before Parliament's ad hoc committee probing police corruption. Speaking to Eyewitness News, O'Sullivan raised concerns about his party probing police corruption. Speaking to Eyewitness News, O'Sullivan raised concerns about his personal safety. He believes appearing before Parliament in